Go, man. Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, Los Def, and I'm back here for episode 140. And if you're new to the channel, I need you to hit that. I need you to smash that subscribe button. I need you to give us a like, leave a comment. If you got smoke, you know what I mean? You know, leave a comment if you want to share the content. If you think somebody can relate or benefit from our conversation today, I appreciate it. But I'm back with a guest. It's been a little bit, a very special guest today. Yo, brother, introduce yourself, man.
Peace, King. Hello. First of all, thank you for having me. 280 Plus. It is what it is. Podcast, first time. My name is Jamiel Alexander, aka Bro JLA, half a mil, depending on when you know me and how we met. Originally from PHI, living in YC. I always claim the PA power. I serve for Aspen Institute Forum for Community Solution. That's the 9 to 5 side hustle with my wife as far as the fan biz with Liz Morales Kitchen.
Yeah.
My daughter, young entrepreneur. My son, always the sun that shines and keep me focused when it comes to us in the community. So that's me. It's a lot of hats that I wear. You know, I'm the current president, NAACP chapter here in YC. The state conference young adult chair. I'm the senior organizer at Aspen Institute Forum for Community Solutions. We serve about 40 plus communities, and when it comes to youth-led change and the healing sense of organizing work. So to whom much is given, much is required. Yeah. So as much as I've done in the 9 to 5, I always take care of home first. Much respect, King.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Real quick, hold on one sec. So yeah, man, I could tell, man, you've been around for a while, partly because when I sent you this link, my man has a Hotmail account still, bro. Like how you I was like, oh yeah, he been outside. He been outside for a minute, man. Like, you know what I mean?
King, so true story. My mom that raised me, nurtured me, Cynthia Alexander, her birthday, she transitioned in 2015. Her birthday was February.
Rest her soul, man. Rest her soul.
You know, lupus warrior, you know. And the fact that in 99, that's a true story. In 99, I just remember being a young and she was like, yo, you need an email address going into this 2K. And this is like 2000. And she like, man, don't be worrying about that 2K nonsense. And she literally set me up with that email, and I've been rocking out with it ever since. Ever since. So and I mean, I'm an R&B thug, sentimental value, mama's boy always. So yeah, Hotmail's where it's at. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. So, you know, I got you on the platform, and I ain't gonna hold you, man. I'm a little bit scared of your wife, right? Because she been wanting to get on the show for a minute, and so like the fact that you on before her, I think she gonna have some smoke for me, man. I'm sorry.
What? No, the power of two becoming one is crazy because I was just telling her I was coming, and she was literally giving me some suggestions like, yo, be you. Because like I said, it's my first time on a podcast, but I've done interviews before. But like, you know what I mean? I'm a millennial, and the Z's and the podcast vibe is a whole nother wave.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the art of conversation, but I'm a visual learner too. So we're going to make it work.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
But I'll make her know. I'll make a note of it. Like, yo, you got to get me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think at the time, you know, it was a busy time, and like I think I didn't really know where to kind of take the conversation because, you know, obviously she could promote her business because I do love the food. You know what I mean? She definitely throws down. You know what I'm saying? You know. And you know, y'all been heavy, man. And I feel like, you know what I mean, there's probably like a brick and mortar coming sometime soon. Like I feel like that has to be the move, right?
The food truck is full of fat, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
So we pulling up and pulling out all summer. Last year was the first kind of summer, you know, then we had the axle, then it's almost like being a homeowner. Every few months is something that happens with the truck, but it's full. We ready for more in the 24. We ready.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, bro, yo, tell us about your background, man. Like, you know, obviously, you know, I mean, you hold a lot of positions, and you know, you wear a lot of different hats. And but you're a transplant to the 717, right? Like you say you're from PHI, but like I guess give us a little bit of your background, and then I always wonder, how do people end up in YC? How do people end up in the 717, man? So just give us your story, man.
Much respect, King. So I'm gonna give you a synopsis. When it's all said and done, you know, went through some trying times, you know, as a child, but you know, we are overcomers in a way where like I was placed here, you know, through juvie, through
Okay.
little circumstances, and I always honor the fact that it was through a faith-based collaboration out west in a way where the Minister of Music, Ernie Saunders, a mentor of mine, I would play the drums doing my community service at Christian Addicts, served that it went to a transitional house. And the fact that I was homeless, but I was more so kind of couch surfing in my earlier years.
Okay.
And YC became a place of like refuge and literally just kind of understanding who I was and just kind of with the grace of God as well. I'm a spiritual person being in a way where like um I felt the need to stay here because it was a level of me starting over,
Okay.
rebranding myself, and it was a blessing in a way where even when I got off papers, doing my community service at Christian Addicts, there was levels of like, oh, you want a job? You want to work with Youth Build America? You want to be a part of this program? And from there, I just kind of like kept myself busy. And then about 3, 4 years later, here it is, in 2004, we celebrated, my wife and I literally be celebrating 20 years together. So you talk about the year of more in a way
Yes.
where 24 is 20 years together, 11 years married, and I just stayed here. And from there, literally, my aha moment was, as much as I was coming from Philadelphia, there was levels of, me witnessing the KKK downtown when it was the
Yeah.
riots, and even the mayor at that time was like on trial. And it was just an aha moment. And as much as I came here to start over because of the drugs and the violence in Philadelphia, that was levels of like me understanding what the inequities and structural racism look like. So
Mm.
the fact that the Lily Bell Allen case was actually emerging, there was things in my background, me being in Philadelphia, watching the Move 9 being bombed as a young person, but
Yeah.
then even back in my earlier years, I would go to Oklahoma to visit my grandma in Muskogee Creek, as far as her kind of term telling me about the Tulsa massacre. So
Yeah.
it was like I literally, so as much as I was isolating myself, I began to open up myself, and I was literally like starting to learn who I was and my purpose, and asking God to guide my feet and my calling on my life in this particular time. And we've been rocking out ever since, King.
That's what's up, man. That's powerful, man. Like, yeah, like again, what you said, the Move 9, and then having that history of like Tulsa Massacre, and like, you had people that know what that looks like, and
Bro,
you know,
true story, true story. Happy History, Black History Month, 24/7, 365, whenever, you know what I mean? It is what it is. History Month, like there's a level of like my biological mom who we're really restoring our relationship. Like I said, the woman that raised me, my mom, I was blessed in my life. When my dad remarried, she was the nurturer, Cynthia Alexander. And then there was levels of like, now me reconnected with my biological mom. She was telling me literally 2 weeks ago how my aunt, who was in Brooklyn, who we go see, literally was one of the people that got the reparations check when it was a bombing, and she moved to New York. She got a reparations check, and she literally died the next year. She was just happy and just ready to go on in glory. So I'm still at this part. I'm still at a point of learning, my generational trauma, but then still healing those wounds through my DNA, making sure my two children and even those around me understand our history.
okay, okay. So like the way you're talking about being in York and looking at it as like a new opportunity, is that more so you as an older adult, like looking back and seeing that in retrospect, or like you felt that early on? Because the reason I ask is like I'm wondering, like, what was your perception of YC when you first moved here? Because I feel like there's like two sides. I feel like there's older adults that feel like, no, this is the place for new opportunity. It's like, especially if they come from a big city, like, all right, we don't got the crime, we don't got better housing prices, like, and they look at it as opportunity. But like when you come here as a younger adult or teenager, you might look at it like, man, they ain't got nothing to do. There ain't this, there ain't that hustle and
Oh, and that
bustle,
was the thing for me. That was the thing for me. So to think about it, like, shoot, about, I mean, 20 plus years ago, that was levels of like, okay, as much as I appreciated the concrete jungle, I like the fact that, we had a yard, you
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
had, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got a backyard, you literally got recreation. Like, you see what I'm
yeah.
saying? There was levels of like, okay, this is something new. And it wasn't, to me, it wasn't boring. It was just more so it was quiet
Okay,
till I
okay.
realized and I start being out more, being in the community at Christmas Addicts, at Youth Building, in a way where I went from a participant to the staff. So my punitive measure of community service doing at the Christmas Addicts became a purpose-driven life, in a way where like I was just serving the community, but I was still learning along the way. I'm a hands-on, I'm a drummer, you see what I'm saying? So that hands-on and that visual is like, okay, I was getting a pulse of the community, but then at the same time, I always kind of felt on the outsider because there was levels of like, some of the old heads, and this is where I want to kind of always in my role that I play now, bridge that gap between millennials and me as the millennials, the Z's, and then even our elders. Like I remember coming here and it was like, oh, okay, you're not from here. You're not the one that's going to be leading them. It's
Okay.
cool, you can have it. It's cool, you can have it, but it literally made me focus on me and mine.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it was to me and my Erica Badu, teach and lesson learned. Lesson learned. And this is one of the things I even try to encourage the youngest now. Like you might not understand the trials and tribulations, but understand who you are and trust me, doors are open.
Okay. That's powerful, man. That's good. That's good. Yeah, because it's funny you said something about yards and stuff like that. It's like, in Philly, you gotta live like over like West Oak Lane, like what I mean, Upper Darby and stuff like to get
Mm-hmm.
that kind of vibe. But
Shoot,
it's powerful that you
out
appreciate
west,
the little
we
stuff.
didn't have backyards. We had the
Yeah.
alley that connected the streets. You see what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, my grandma from most of my family is actually from Philly. My grandma lived, rest her soul. She passed away in 2023 in summer. She lived out West Philly over on like Hobart Street, over like 59th and like Hobart and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so yeah, I'm that's my people. All my people is Philly. Like it's funny because my mom is from York. My dad's from Philly, but my mom has like no family. Like, you know what I mean? So like I've always, even though I was born and raised in York, I've always felt like a transplant as well. Cause York is like everybody cousins and whatever. So like I didn't my friends and I had to worry about me too. And my friends and became my family and things like that. I had to, make
So
my
then
own way.
I love you. Because the family by choice, because there are ones that literally gravitated to me. So as much as some of the elders wasn't, I had those like Miss Marion, Mr. Willie Howard, rest in peace, Mr. Wood. You see what I'm saying? There was different ones that would literally pour into me, Mr. Moody, like you see what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
even the
yeah.
Kirklands, understanding the riots and even the things that they contributed during the charrettes. Like, you know what I mean? So it was like I was listening and learning for those who was out, but then at the same time, like how can I show up for our people?
Okay.
Because one of the things I realized then, the structural inequities, I didn't see that too much. Like, you know what I mean? It was a melting pot where I was out west. You said 59th and Hobart. That's right up Hilltop where I was at, or whatever,
Yep.
out Overbrook. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
know
yeah,
this.
yeah. Right around
You
the
know what
corner. Yep.
I'm saying? So there was levels of like, I remember this one Chicano brother, like he was from Cali. He was teaching us how to skateboard. And I'm a young boy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like skateboarding in Philly, what? You know what I'm saying? But it was like, when I came here, it was like, oh, okay. First of all, I didn't see too many Mexicans or Asians, and then the white population was like, oh, okay, in your face, but oh, you don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? So there was a level of like, you know what? I'm gonna just stay here, do my job. I had a 9 to 5 at CA. I worked at Damon's as a busboy, moved up to the waiter, and then I worked Walmart from 11 to 7. Like I was just grinding, just keeping myself busy. I wasn't
Yeah.
hustling. I wasn't hustling dope. I was hustling hope for myself and
Oh,
literally I was stacking, thinking that I was gonna move back to YC, but I was blessed. I was gonna move back to Philly, but
yeah.
I was blessed with a lady and 2 children. Like, you know what, we gonna plant our roots.
Yep, yep. And that's how my dad kind of looked at it. Like, my dad, his story is that obviously him and my mom met in Philly, but then my dad was incarcerated when I was my mom was pregnant and he had outmate. So I guess it wasn't too serious, but he bounced on outmate to see me born. Like and I mean, and then
Mm.
he never left YC ever since. You know what I mean? So he been in YC for 36 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
And
yeah.
that's the power. That's the power of your children. Because I feel like I tell people to see me is to see us, man. I tell people no matter what I'm called to do, I appreciate the power of two becoming one, my wife and I, but then the blessing of my children. Because I try to impart in them the things that I didn't know, but I learned from them even more.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? So in the spirit of reciprocity, there's a level of like generational curses and chains being broken, but they're elevating us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. That's deep, man. That's good. So let's start talking about some of the hats that you wear, right? And I guess what I mean, for the audience, like what kind of work do you do, man? Like, and when did you first get involved in activism? You know what I mean, so to speak.
Yeah, so the whole activism, like I said, like it was more so around. the Lily Bell Allen trials. May she rest in peace. And that whole situation when the KKK was literally doing a tour, and the first place they stopped at was in New York. Doing that, the mayor at the time, things was coming out, and the fact that I was listening, I was learning about York, but then it made me understand my reality of what I saw in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But then, like, I'm saying, so it was slowly but surely building in me. You see what I'm saying? Not to mention my mom, bonus mom, being a Black Panther, told you my biological mom, Muskogee Creek. Like, so there was levels of, like, as a mama boy. And even my father, like, there's a level of, like, him kind of going through different challenges and struggles and kind of being in and out of my life, but he was always a spiritual man too. His, whether it be church and really serving, and as he got himself together, being a minister and an elder, there was ways of, like, tools that I kind of watched through, whatever. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like, I'm the sum of every experience, African proverb. So it's like, how can I be who I am in the calling of my life? So activism, literally, I feel like it's just been a part of me. And I
Okay.
feel like it was more intentional when, I was at Christian Addicts and the White House Forum for Community Solutions, Obama, his era, and it was levels of, like, oh, you're a young organizer, you working with the Quakers, we helped downtown, we was building yards, like, I was heavy in YC, like, I'm talking
Okay.
about, I'm like literally right down there by the White Rose, that mosaic art, we helped
Yeah.
build that.
Oh,
The Hope
wow.
Street, we helped build that. AmeriCorps, this is when Mayor Bracey was literally coming back home from the service. Like, I was a part of all of that. You see what I'm saying? Building parks with the Park on Blade. And it was like, I was serving.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
literally creating history. And it was like, activism to me I call it artivism. As an artist,
Mm.
I always played the drums and the art of organizing in a way where when you play the full set of drums, you got the hi-hat, the tom, the cymbal. So it's a multiple thing that you have to do. So when it came to the art of organizing, like, there's things that you have to do, but as a team, how can we do it collectively?
That's what's
So
up.
that's literally, it was a slow grind. So by the time I was acknowledged to go to the White House and be with President Obama, here I am, a part of a think tank. You know what I mean? I was called a troubled teen, at-risk youth, disconnected, whatever. But there was a level of, like, we was a part of this focus group, and we coined ourselves as opportunity youth. Like, we are the opportunity for the world, but we need the opportunity. So there was a spirit of, again, of reciprocity when it came to the participatory research, brothers and sisters like myself that went through different programs that literally as a collective started a movement. So now it's the Opportunity Youth Movement. And Aspen Institute literally took that with the blessing of Miss Melanie Barnes, who used to work at the White House, Monique Miles, and even the big homie Steve Patrick. And I've been growing ever since, 11 years later.
Wow. Wow. So, okay. So, and when did you see Obama? Like, what year was that? Was that like in the beginning of his presidency? Like, so I'm thinking
Oh, this
08
is
to oh eight to
who is
2016. Like, that's great. That's a good,
No, I've been blessed to see him and his wife and be in his company several times.
Oh,
So
wow.
first
What?
time, first time in DC, and then when he kicked off the MBK Alliance in New York, we did it here in York for a little bit, and then his wife, the first lady, she came to Youth Bill, and I was a part of the cohort and at the White
Yeah,
House when
Michelle Obama came to Youth Bill?
the youth bill. So youth bill we had like our 35th anniversary. So with youth bill, we do a lot of advocacy work because we're
Yes.
nonprofit. We have a line item with the Department of Labor. So in
Oh,
DC, we do a lot of like advocating why this program should be whatever. And she came to see us, and I was part of like be here 2 hours early so y'all can get set straight. Mind you, and I want to kind of go back. That was First Lady Obama.
yeah.
Mind you, the first time I ever went to go see President Obama, I could not get in. I couldn't get in, and this is where
Why?
I had a record.
Oh shit. Oh, you don't even. I don't think people think about stuff. Like, I mean, like.
Peep game though. Peep game though. And I feel like, what I mean, this is the God, this is the God in me, the favor on my life, because his name is Michael Smith. He actually runs the AmeriCorps program now, but he was working at the office of the president of Obama. And of course, Miss Melody Barnes was there, and they was like, no, let that brother in, because he has a story that, like, and that was like my first me realizing the Black privilege that I had. As much as I
Mm,
went through what I went through, it was my story, my testament, and my lived experience that was literally uplifting some of the data that they was trying to create, why we should help young people who have been formerly incarcerated in the juvenile justice system.
yeah, yeah. Wow. So, but all right. So you said juvie. So you still had a record even though it was juvenile, or did you end up, you got into some adult
I try to get it
charges?
expunged, but then over time it was just like, okay, it's a part of who I am. Like I tell people, like I from the sum of every experience. I'm a
Okay.
sum whether it be intent to sell, whether it be those Parkinson's or whatever, over time I got it taken care of. But at that time, I'm still young. I'm fresh out of
Yeah.
Philly.
Yeah.
Out of Philly. I'm NYC. I'm really just kind of playing my part, but the work is literally speaking for me. So they like Chris was at is like, oh, okay, well, you want to go down there? Oh, yes. Matter of fact, his name was Mr. Floyd Goff. He was the CEO at the time. He had came from corporate America, and he was the CEO at UBIL, CA at the time. So he knew all about that corporate policy vibe, and he was like, "Oh yeah, just go." He
Yeah.
told me, he was like, "Just go. When you come back, make sure you do a presentation to the staff." I said, "All
Okay.
right."
Okay. Okay. See, I didn't even know. See, I think I'm under the impression that like, yeah, if you have juvenile record, it just goes away. So you're saying like, no, it's still you still got to get it expunged and all that. Like, you know what I mean?
The whole process, man. That's the feds. This is the
Wow.
president of the United States.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
like
Oh, so they dig in deeper than what? Yeah. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So I guess just real quick, just on some tangent stuff, like there's a lot of people that I don't know. I feel like people have a lot of revisionist history, you know what I'm saying? And they now we look at Obama and people look at his presidency and then they want to say like stuff like, oh, he ain't really do nothing for the black community and this and that. And like I feel like they try and change narratives, whatever. But like I guess what is your like perception of like his presidency and his terms, you know what I mean, as he was, you know, leading the country. Like and obviously every president's no president's perfect. Every presidency is marred with issues and controversies and stuff like that. But like how do you feel? Like do you feel because I obviously we know when 45 came up in there, he basically was trying to get just railroad everything that was already established. I felt like, you know what I'm saying? But
bro, true story. True story. Because I understand politics, but then there's a level of like civic engagement is a lifestyle for me, especially coming from a background or the man. To me personally, it was like, oh, the man is this, the man is that, which is there's a level of understanding structural inequities and even racism and calling it out. But then there's a lifestyle of a lot of people have their theories as far as like, and I know as far as the electoral vote, but my whole thing is like I'm gonna vote. So that's always been a thing for me.
okay.
So the fact that I was blessed to be there and literally get to meet him and his wife. Like, if you ask me on a personal meeting that man and knowing what he did through the My Brother's Keeper, knowing what he did through as far as Obamacare, Medicare, like there's levels of like, there was some things that affected us positively. And I'm not just saying me as a black man, but us as people. Because
Yeah, yeah.
you talk about the My Brother's Keeper that was birthed out of his presidency, that was literally on the cusp of Trayvon Martin, knowing
Mm-hmm.
that he was a black president under his watch. Let's do something right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got my foot in the door, because I understood what it was to be stereotyped every day, whether me being a knucklehead in Philly or trying to live a good life in York. And some of these white folks was literally like, "You're not from here. You got a hoodie on." Da, da, da. Especially now, I ain't gonna get into the red shirts. If you know anything about
Oh,
the
I
red
remember the
shirts,
red shirts. I remember the red shirts.
it's okay. So here we are. I mean, I know I ain't here for that, but it's cool.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, 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 yeah. All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. Because yeah, I think again, like I think people have these narratives, and we all know that's only president is just one branch. I mean, and that's why I think there is a urgency to vote because you're not just voting for the president, you voting for the legislative branch, you voting for the people that's writing these laws. And so when you act,
Yo,
when you act like like people minimize it so much and it's like no man, you missing the bigger picture, man. You missing the bigger picture because that's what they want us not to vote whatever so we don't have a seat at the table at all, you know what I'm saying? Like
game.
it's
So keep game though. As much as we talk about the presidents, I always say, and I heard this, politics starts at home. So whether it be the presidency, the mayor, the judge, whatever, that's how I got to the White House, because I was doing so much in the community of YC as far as educating our people, especially at the time as a youngin. You know what I mean? That was levels of like, and I gotta honor those as far as the ancestor dream. I had some brothers and sisters who I connected with: Shalana, Marissa, Nate, Wayne. We was all young, Juanita. You see what I'm saying? Juana Dean, like all of these are literally the sons and daughters of those greats that I looked up to, but I was able to kind of like connect with them. And we were literally doing stuff in our community. You see what I'm saying? With no help out of the pocket. So it's like we was doing, like, to whom much is given, much is required. Like, I'm blessed because I've served. And this is what people don't see me in the gym. They don't see me in the gym practicing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's the level of like, okay, it's cool, stay humble, stay focused. And this is just more so a term that I tell myself because, like, when it's all said and done, I know how blessed I am. I know how blessed I am. And even if people don't understand, just like me understanding those who have transitioned and ascended as our elders, as ancestors, sometimes you don't get it until someone leaves. So when I interact and when I try to meet with people, even if it's for a minute or a second, one, how can we serve and uplift our people together?
That's what's up.
Flat out.
That's what's up, man. That's good. That's good. All right, man. Let's switch it up a little bit.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
let's talk about, man. You got a title, man. You got a position. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty important. And but I think I think just people in general need to know what it is, what it entails, and how people get involved. But the NAACP, right? So obviously there's a chapter NYC, and you are the president of the York chapter of the NAACP.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's crazy because I say that in a way where, like, first of all, I became the president because I ascended. The president that was before me had to step down because there was a lot going on, and no disrespect, but I respect the fact that, the capacity is so real because everyone in the local chapter and with national volunteers. So the fact that he stepped down and I was first I ascended. So in that role, I was just trying to hold it together. But then when elections came up, I got nominated several times and nobody contested. And one of the things I told the NAACP, because I've been a member since a youngin as a youth and college president, when I was appointed by President Sandra, in a way where, like, engaging our young people as far as, the NAACP and who it is and what it stood for. And one of the things I said, as soon as I said, in order for me to get this, I need y'all help. And I
Okay.
said that from the gate, like, many hands make light work. And two things that I wanted to do as soon as I got in, and here I am, I wanted to make sure I bridge the gap, our
Okay.
elders and our young people, and I wanted to make sure I build capacity. So as much as we have committee leads as far as the political action committee, as far as the education chair, as far as the comms and secretary. My thing has always been to collaborate. So each committee actually collaborates or even leads something within our community. And as a convener in NAACP, and my role at this time is like literally working through a collective impact lens with shared goal for our county. The
Okay.
good thing, so that was the two things that I told them that I wanted to do, and they agreed, and we've been rocking out. So as much as people see the NAACP, my goal and my elected time right now that I have was more so like focusing the internal and really getting us ready for this 24. Me knowing the one thing we've always done in this company before me is literally to get out the vote and really educating our people as far as what it means to be an informed, educated voter. And I
Okay.
learned that through the NAACP as a youngin.
Okay.
So
Okay.
here I am now as the president, building on what worked, but at the same time doing the internal work amongst ourselves.
Okay.
And the blessing of disguise is the blessing in that is even though I had those two things that I wanted to kind of make sure I focus on, we've literally built up a comms team. We have our own website, Facebook, and I appreciate even Professor O, Ophelia Chambers, who's our first VP, like, and even Sister Sandra, the press who kind of schooled me when I was young, and they have the legal redress. If you know anything about our county, we know it's a lot of conservatives here. It's a lot of opinions. It's a lot of ideas. And some of the civil rights complaints that come in through our legal redress, bro, sometimes I pray, I give it to God, but I appreciate my executive team because there's ways that we try to talk, strategize, and support our communities, our
Okay.
county. And
Okay.
you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. And I'm gonna just put it out there in the virtuosity, the virtual vibes side of things. racism is so prevalent in our county.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about structural, I'm talking about in your face.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is where it keeps me humble and understanding the journey on and marching on till victory is won.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So I guess, and you kind of touched on it just in your own experiences, but I guess just kind of like if you could just, layman's terms, like what is the role of the NAACP? Like, what do they do? What can Black people expect for them to accomplish? Like, and because I think there are misconceptions. I think when things happen, tragedies happen, there is like sometimes I feel like in the last several years there has been like negativity where like, oh man, what, like it almost feeling like they have no power or they don't do much and things like that. But I guess, can you explain to us like what it is and what is the goal and what does it do for Black people?
So I'm gonna keep it a buck because you think about the NAACP stands for the National Advancement of Colored People. So you talk about 2024 terms as far as BIPOC. So whether you're Black, Indigenous, people of color, our Latino brothers and sisters, like and even our minority Asians. So we're literally in my role now, the 24, just human rights.
Okay, okay,
Human
okay,
rights organization. If you feel like your human rights or your civil rights has been violated, we are in that need to support. But then
okay.
on the flip, so that's more so I want to kind of say, so you think about social work as three tiered: the intervention, prevention, and treatment. So the intervention side of things is like we go to the source and try to figure it out. The
Okay.
preventative side of things are the committees and how we literally try to educate, but to get out the vote. As far as the treatment, when it comes to this racism and some of the things that are going on, whether it be through the injustice and I'm gonna just I want to keep it general, but the injustices that happen in our county when people are literally being marginalized, when DEI is literally at the point of trying to be erased, when the book bans are literally trying to get out of here, we partner with these organizations, these schools in a way we're like, no, how sway.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, and we have seen all those different things that you mentioned, like book bans and stuff like that in different school districts and yeah,
The
okay.
fact that I gotta acknowledge the land of where we are, York City, our Susquehannock, Shawnee people, and the fact that here we are now, a school is literally using logos like people don't. Our county is real. We
Yeah.
got school, we got education system, we have corporate America, we got corporate America trying to erase DEI. But then I want to respect the fact that even on the state level, there's a level of DEIB that's happening. I appreciate the fact that 2020, the uprising in 2020, 2021, we did the 10 at 10s, the monthly meetings that we had in a way where it's something that I learned at my job as far as the belonging, BMWP, the belonging, meaning making well-being. And one of the things we were talking about then is Debbie, diversity, equity, belonging, and inclusion. So now here we are in 24, our new governor is literally talking about belonging. So there are small victories that we do. And I appreciate this is where York is my home, and I see it as a microcosm of how structural inequities can be undone. You know what I mean? Because we're literally becoming, as much as it goes on, it gives me the force and the fortitude when I do travel, like, oh, we can combat this. And then even when I go in communities for my job, how can I bring that back to my job? Bring this back home to make sure we are educated, informed, and literally the upper mobility of all people.
Oh, that's deep. That's good. That's good. I guess you touched on the fact that one of your main goals is bridging the, or for you as a president is bridging the gap, right? So how do you bridge the gap? How do you get young people involved? Even on the other side, like people like that have a similar history as you, like they're labeled as a troubled youth. Like how do you get buy-in from the youth? I mean, because and let's keep it real. I think the youth today is different than we were. I just look at it like that. I feel like they a little bit different than we are. You know what I mean? Or we were. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
do you bridge that gap?
I totally agree. I totally agree. But in that difference, I seek understanding.
Oh
So
yes, yes.
I go to them. I go to the schools. I go to Youth Build, Christmas Addicts. I go to York High. I make myself available and literally just hang around, just kick it. Because half of their parents, sad but true, especially me being a young father, half of their parents, we used to kick it with it together in Youth Build. I told you I've been here 20 years. I was a young parent. So it's like now I'm literally Unc Mill now. Like, okay, well, yeah, your mom and your dad know me when I came here from Philly and how I changed my life, right? Talk to them. I mean, because I'm not gonna argue with
Mm,
you and fight with you. Because York is small enough, like conversation is in. That's one thing I love about it. Like,
yeah,
you can do your due diligence. You can Google me if you like. You see what I'm saying? But
yeah,
you mean then the next day be like, oh, my mom told me, oh, my dad, da 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 da. So it's like, okay, well, I'm here now. And you tell me because I remember how I was when nobody listened to me. So how can I support you, young king, young sister? So even in our Susquehanna, Dallastown, Red Line, some of the things that go on there, there's a level of like I might pop up there. And I'm like, oh yeah, a black guy is coming to help us. And
yeah,
this is some of our younger white counterparts in a way where like you're still going through your human rights, your civil rights are being violated.
yeah.
Just know that we're here if you need us. And matter of fact, let us educate you. And this is why I even appreciate Dr. Washington and even Sister Tanya, because we are a team when it comes to the NAACP.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? The support that I always wanted, we give.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So
good.
that's the youngins. But with the old heads, though, I think and this is where the bridging of the gap, because there's a level of young people having wisdom in their lived experience. Like you said, like it's a different era right now. So it's like, talk to me and help me understand. And even if you don't feel like talking, boom, boom, I'm gonna be around. Let me know. It is what it is, and we'll kind of figure it out. Start the conversation versus so there's a level of like the old heads won't listen, the youngs won't listen. So you know what? I'm gonna listen twice as much as I speak. And you know, these are the similarities with the old and the young.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Trying to find that common ground as opposed to judging and jumping to conclusions and making the yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, yeah. And that is how you have to be, especially with the youth, because if especially if you want that buy-in, they have to trust you. They have to feel like you understand what it's like. And talking to the youth, I like just being able to like, yo, I seen it, man. Like trust me, like I seen that path, and it is a better way, I mean, so to speak. So that's
Yeah.
good, man. That's good. And I guess how do people get involved in general? How do people get involved into the NAACP?
NAACP, you know what I mean? Like I said, we got the website percolating right now. Proud of that. Thank you, Brother Derek. So you can go to the website and then even Facebook. Even if you have a civil complaint, you can always just go to York NAACP. You can type out what your complaint is, and for real, there's an automatic, again, Professor O, Sister Sandra, Prez, in a way where like there's a Google form, complaint form that you literally fill out, and we always kind of go through them as far as the executive committee to see how we support tag team and like point you in the right direction, collaboration with the Human Resource Commission. And if we don't know the answer, we'll do our due diligence to get you the answer and kind of do some kind of mediation around the injustice that was caused, if there was. Because that's another thing too. And I always appreciate the fact that some people may think it's a civil rights issue, but half the time, I want to say about 60% of the time, it's more so their feelings were hurt. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And for real, sometimes it's more so like, okay, we know this has happened, but like, what was the injustice done? Because they were like, oh, they told me to get out their building. What you want us to do? Like, we can
Yeah,
file
yeah,
a file a complaint if you want to do a lawsuit. Like, we give you the options of what you want to do, but half the time it's like, boom, prime example. We had a community, we had a I'm gonna be real with you, and I'm gonna throw this out there. There's a place downtown right now in a way where they had the blackface, bro. They had the blackface, and I ain't been there ever since. Was one time because of a good brother of mine. He was like, "Yo, come through and this and that." And I told him then, like, "Yo, I feel so bad being here. I gotta leave because it's your birthday, but you don't have to give them their business." And to this day, I do. The owner wants to sit down and this is where they try to use my position versus me, Jamiel Alexander, as an activist for so long. But you're not going to force my hand because I am the president to come to you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
this is
yeah,
and this is what I'm realizing in leadership as well, because I hold myself accountable to the elected office that I am. But I've been doing this. My family has been doing activism before I was born. Like I said, my grandmother, Oklahoma,
yeah.
when the massacre happened, she was literally housing some of our black folks that literally were displaced because it was bombed.
Mm, talk about it. Talk about it.
So this is where I'm realizing, whether it be through white fragility,
Mm.
different instructional justices, that like don't I'm not a killer, just don't push me. And
Mm.
you know what I mean? That's on some Tupac, Gemini vibe things, like, and this is where I found balance, because I can get hood, but the God in me tells me through love and kindness.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
please don't push me too close to the edge.
Yep, yep, yep. I hear that, man. I hear that. So
Bro, I appreciate the flow too. Thank
that's
you.
good. That's good. No doubt. No doubt, man.
I'm
Uh,
everywhere with it too. You're getting it all right now.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to. I'm trying to, man. Trying to pack it in there. All right, so let's
Woo.
switch it up. Let's switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
So yo, man, I'm on your page. You know what I mean? I see, man, you moving and shaking, man. You doing a lot of good stuff. And
Mm,
it stood out to me, man. You said 2024, the year of more, man. So I saw that caption, and I guess
mm.
what does that mean for you, man? What does that mean? Because
More and more. You're gonna more and so peep game, like that hit me. So this Thanksgiving was, since the pandemic, this is the first time, like we did it pre-pandemic, but we had the family here.
mm,
And it was in that moment, my son, my daughter, mind you, we're early empty nesters now. So it was in those moments,
oh,
my son, my daughter, my wife, we was here cooking, prepping the house. It just so happened Joe came on more and more, you know what I mean? And I've always loved music, especially R&B. And my son, he can be a whole DJ, and my daughter's a dancer, and my wife, we connected early, like we just love music. And in that moment, I said, yo, this is Thanksgiving. You know, I always give thanks. I ground myself every morning with thanks. And I told us then, I like, yo, we going into the year of more, 24. And
yeah,
this was Thanksgiving, right? So by the time January came on, Tamara Hall had it on her show. And me and my wife just kind of looked at each other like, that's confirmed. The more for me is more peace, more love,
mm-hmm.
more ops. Ops as in opportunities. We
Opportunities,
take.
yeah,
So even with those opportunities, we're co-creating opportunities for ourselves. My wife as an entrepreneur, my daughter as an entrepreneur, my son making his way as an entrepreneur. But at the same time, the different jobs, different under the table jobs, I really believe he's getting skills to be where he wants to be. You see what I'm
okay,
saying? So me understanding and having faith and knowing that within him. And then even myself, like for real, bro. On the low, I'm about to get me another degree, but we'll call me back on that one on the low. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So even with that, there's the level of like, I'm blessed in my job. I didn't even know I just got a I just got elevated in my job. So the fact that we manifested that more and things are working that way, I believe in the power of words, manifestation more and more in the 24.
I like that. I like that. So, and just a preview. I guess I don't, we don't got to touch too much on this, but I guess what kind of work are you doing in DC? And you said, is it Aspen Institute?
Aspen Institute.
Aspen
Yes.
Institute, yeah. So, what kind of work are you doing down there? Because that has to be tough. Like, well, the NAACP, that's a volunteer position, right?
Yeah.
So your
Yeah.
bread and butter is what you're doing down in DC, I guess, and with Aspen Institute. So, like, what kind of work are y'all doing for that organization?
Great call. So Aspen Institute, Forum for Community Solutions, like I said, it was birthed out the White House. And when President Obama left, Aspen Institute, under the great leadership of Melody Barnes, took the lead. And 11 years ago, there was a levels of opportunity youth, literally the young people ages 16 to 24, being at the tables as thought partners when it comes to, we call ourselves solutionaries. The revolution will not be televised, but as solutionaries, we know the solutions that we need because we've been there. So
We,
in the beginning young organizing roles, I was one of the young organizers coming through the way of Youth Build Public Allies Core Network. Here it is. Just literally understanding philanthropy and the advocacy piece. Because in then, like our job, we're intermediaries. So we raise money and then we do a matching grants on a local level so the community themselves to do the work. So in my role, I'm more of like a technical assistant provider working with the young people. We encourage every community to have like a leadership council with young people. And if they don't, I literally help create that and kind of cultivate it. Because I can't create it, but I cultivate the relationship, the tools and resources of leadership development, and understanding the assets that each unique young person has so they can carefully work those group dynamics. So
Okay.
that's been my role. And
Okay.
then, so that was my role. And then about 2020, 2021, I was blessed to run a portfolio around healing central organizing. We believe in healing central organizing, the power of Mother Nature and Father Time and the arts as tools to kind of help and restore and heal ourselves in a well-being. So now here we are in the 2024, the year of more, BMWP, belonging, meaning making, well-being, and purpose. The belonging, we all belong, the well-being, the health factor, that's just a lifestyle. The meaning making is understanding who you are in your role, but at the same time, giving yourself grace and loving who you are and how you show up. And that turns into your purpose.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, you got so many bars in this, Joe. Like I'm gonna have like, because I always do like a pull caption as like the title, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, this guy, he's spitting right now, man. You know what I
I
mean?
love
So,
you. I
yo,
love you, man. Thank you. Cause I come happy 50 of hip hop. I come from an era of like,
yes.
and I gotta do this too, faith-based vibe in a way where as much as, I played the drums in church and it kind of landed me here in Maranatha, there was levels of like the neo soul being birthed and the great John Roberts, the Roots. I remember going to the Five Spot in Philadelphia. I remember the fact that Todd Triver used to like. I've literally music soul child,
Oh
Jaguar, the
man.
Roots. I was a young boy traveling with my older cousin who was a graffiti artist who was in the same class as Will Smith. I can't make this stuff up. And it's
Mm.
so crazy. As much as I was going through the domestic violence, though it was that joy that kind of helped me. I wasn't straddling the fence because it was like I was in the streets, but I didn't fit in
Yeah, yeah.
because I was too nice to the females. And I always, you know what I'm saying? Because I was always the mama's boy. And they were like, yo, bro, like, you know what I mean? You know how the culture
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah.
even when I had a pack and I would come up short, I would literally try to pay more the next time because I messed the money up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that's not street code, but it was like my work with OG, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
it was like, but in those times, but it was like I've always, and this is one of the things, this is what I love about Black Boy Joy because it was in me, and I was able to play the drums, and it got me into different places. I remember people paying $20 because I was the youngest one, yogi with me, like paying the bouncer. This is when the shampoo was my jumping, the Five Spot down on Delaware Ave, like, and it's so crazy. Kendrick, like, I can't make this stuff up, bro. I can't make this stuff up. I can't. And I appreciate this opportunity to share because there's a level of like, I say PA power, but I appreciate the fact that you know how what they say, people say this. I think, and this is my personal lived experience, we do love each other when it comes to us as people.
Hmm.
But but through time and through societal norms, we try to hide it and hold back.
Yeah, we do. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. Trying to be hard. I mean, I mean, looking out for yourself. You know what I mean? And part of it is capitalism. You know what I mean? We live in a very individualistic like society, but like, nah, I think ultimately, yeah, we are a people of love. Like we want to love, you know what I mean? Even when, and that's the thing, and just kind of, white people, they're afraid. They're afraid because they think we're gonna get revenge. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, we ain't interested in revenge. We want fair.
What's rightfully ours.
We want what's rightfully ours, and we want what's fair. Like we don't, you know what I mean? We don't need to do that. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to do that to y'all. You know what I mean, so to speak. Like,
Yep.
yeah, you're right.
Yep.
You're right.
So that, and that's when this is how I've learned, and I'm gonna kind of tie this into the banning of the books, the
Yeah.
the annihilation of trying a DEI.
Mm.
Like, so you, because I can get into the structural inequities and even understanding the history, because if you know your history, the end will not trouble you. the fact that you burning the books of the Vatican, like it's literally it's repeating itself. Because if you don't know your history, you don't understand who you are. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I see it, I understand it, but as a keyword of flame in the time that I have here, and even with you on this virtual vibe podcast, like the word will get out.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. All right. Let's switch it up one more time, and I think this is gonna be overarching our last thing that we kind of get into. Let's talk about right. So let's talk about, man, Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, this February we were blessed with an extra day. You know what I'm saying?
As long as you keep your head to the sky. Sound of blackness. That's
there we go. There we go. So Black History Month, man. So, all right. A lot of people over the years, I feel like, I guess I'm gonna ask you, like, what do you think is the importance of having a Black History Month? But do you remember, and this is always a viral clip that goes around, do you remember Morgan Freeman? He was on 60 Minutes a long time ago talking to Mike Wallace, right? And he's saying, like, the message is like, no, like, he doesn't think that we should have Black History Month. And now, not saying that he wasn't trying to negate Black history, but he was just saying that, like, it's a part of American history. Like, do you want a White History Month? And Mike Wallace is like, no, I'm Jewish. He's like, well, do you want a Jewish History Month? He's like, no. He was like, yeah. So, like, it should just be a part of the fabric. But I think people use that message irresponsibly, you know what I mean? And they say, like, oh no, we shouldn't have, like, let's get rid of it completely. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the answer either. You know what I mean? But I guess for you, like, maybe how do you interpret what Morgan Freeman said, but also what do you think is the importance of Black History Month?
And I honor the big homie Morgan Freeman, Mr. Morgan Freeman. I've never met him, but I do know exactly what you're talking about. And there's literally a movement that's actually saying FB, excuse the middle finger, FBHM, literally F Black History Month. And my personal perspective is, and just honoring the ancestor Woodson, like the brother that started.
Is it Carter Woodson? Carter, is it?
Yeah. Woodson, yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he started it as a week and it grew into the month, to me, in my opinion, we had to start somewhere. If we evolve to a place where we are on the same level and understanding Black history is American history, so be it. I honor you, Mr. Morgan, but like I said, different people have different perspectives and opinion. My personal opinion is like we had to start somewhere. And then even in my lived experience, there's a level of like, we didn't get the full nitty gritty, but to me, it planted a seed. Like I know there might be 2 or 3 people that get highlighted during elementary. I know by the time I hit middle school, Beeper Middle School, Mr. Campbell, there was levels of Mr. Campbell and Mr. Jenkins. He was at Q. He was literally telling me the understanding of more of Black people, inventors, and then by the time I went to high school, I kind of veered off a little bit, but it was like, it was other Black folks who literally uplifted fact, like, okay, if this is our month, I'm gonna give you everything beside these 2 or 3 people. So it's like you start somewhere, but then it's us as people to educate each other.
Yeah.
So everybody got their opinion, and especially the way things are right now, I honor it.
Yeah.
I always say though, King, I am Black history 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
Because last week I was in a Black Love event. And they asked me what's Black love. And I appreciate Brother David Overton, because it was like, Black love to me is looking at myself in the mirror and understanding who I am and loving myself. Because in American society, no disrespect to any other ethnic backgrounds, but you see me, you see Black. So if I can't love myself, how can you love me? And that's what I kind of see as Black History Month. Just Black love, literally understanding and being intentional with it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think the importance of Black History Month is the fact that we are not, like you said, we're not at a place where Black history is American history. Like if we don't have anything, we will be forgotten. You know what I'm saying? And what Cat Williams say, whatever, like talking about how, the winners. You know what I mean, they get to decide, like, history, and they get to decide what story is told and things like that. And it's like, if we don't.
Okay, so look, you didn't hit a nerve. But then this is as a young father too. This is a young father, and this is one of the things I love about my son and my daughter. Because as me, I say me, as we, my wife and I, whether her being both beautiful Boricua, understanding PR and the Tainos that literally, you know what I mean, us being
Mm-hmm.
one, and it's me as us literally instilling them Black history in our culture. My son, he was so ahead of the curve. When he was in Votech, he was talking to teachers, and the teachers felt threatened because he knew so much about his history. My daughter,
Mm.
my daughter, she was in a, so this is Votech. My daughter, when she was at York Academy and the things that she was doing, we had to teach the school the cultural competencies. So this
Mm.
is why it's important. Okay, it is what it is with society, but as a family and as foundation, it's up to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you are your child's like first educator, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be the one that plants that seed, first and foremost, regardless if they want to, FBHM or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's real. That's real. That's real. Um, all right, just to wrap this up, man. I didn't know if you know this Black History Month. Every year there's a different theme. So this year it's a celebration of the arts, right? So I guess I'll just, you know what I mean. So I guess I just want to ask you, who are some, and we could just go through different little categories, but like who for you, who are like the game changers or the pivotal people in the arts, whether it's literature, music, art in general, or poetry? Like who are some figures for you that like maybe changed your life or like just stood out to you, man, in a different way?
So how about I speak to different eras? The
Okay, yeah,
Harlem Rena the Harlem Renaissance. You
facts.
talk about you talk about the Harlem Renaissance and how, whether it be through jazz and different things, that was literally an evolution of entrepreneurs as artists, right? Talk about the Harlem Renaissance. The fact that I lived through the neo soul experience. Happy birthday hip hop, because I
Yes.
love the, and I didn't even know I love the arts. Like I told you, like even with the to organize and work, there's a level of, and this is me understanding when I was younger, I wasn't too much of an athlete, but I was a drummer. So I was able to use the arts help me as an outlet, get into domestic violence. So the fact that you said that the arts, we say the power of the arts and the power of Mother Nature and Father Time, and using it as a tool to healing. So even in my current circumstances, I literally listen to music. I don't play the drums as much, but of course, my son being my wife being an artist through edible art, my
Mm-hmm.
daughter
Okay.
my daughter being a visual and a dancer. And even when my son in his high time, he was literally creating art with welding. So
Mm.
I've always believed in the art. So to answer your question, the Harlem Renaissance, living through neo soul. I told you I was one of the youngest drummers back in Philly. I remember being at the Far Side with Neo, with Kendrick, the Soul Family, the Roots, Music Soul Child. Like, you see what I'm saying? So I remember how that neo soul was being coming out a way of Common coming in town just on the strength because he wanted to be around that whole neo soul vibe.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
fact that even in the pandemic, you had Queen Badu and Queen Jill Scott, as much as it was a versus, them sisters supporting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So Harlem Renaissance, neo soul, happy birthday hip hop, and of course gospel music. That's good old good news music. Slash, you put on a good Ty Tribbett, give me a good back in the day Negro spiritual just to kind of ground myself. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, for me, literature, James Baldwin, Walter D. Myers, man, really, really big author, man, because he, you know, for like modern times, you know what I mean, really writing pieces that speak to the youth, using language that kind of connects and hits, and the stories are just super relatable, you know what I mean, whether it's
Yeah,
about,
shoot. Brown
monster.
Out.
Yeah,
Yo, if you want to go
Monster,
literature,
Glory Field, Scorpions, like it's countless. I mean,
oh,
so
if you talking literature, like I told you, whether it be Brown Eyes, Toni Morrison, Richard Wright, Black Boy, like yeah, and this was early, and the reason why I say Richard Wright, Black Boy, there was a level of me being in seventh grade, and this is my middle school era. Like this is another thing I said this earlier. Mr. Jenkins, he was a Q. And as much as I would kind of like skip class here and there, I always loved going to his class, and there was a Jewish brother named Mr. Global. He taught the history.
yeah.
So Mr. Jenkins was my social studies teacher, and he made we read. He literally Richard White, Black Boy was literally a book that I enjoyed reading because there was struggles of him as slavery, and I literally felt myself going through the domestic violence of him being beat,
Mm-hmm.
right? So out there, you talk about more Tony, the Queen Brown Eyes, as far as like, but the autobiography of Malcolm X, like
Yeah.
and this is like early on. This is like early on that literally kind of now what you said, like the full circle of who I am and what I'm doing as far as activism, the arts and activism.
Yes, yes.
Arts.
Have you like where did you hear that term before? Because my man
Oh!
Like I'm not saying you, but my man Sir Dominic Jordan. Do you know who he is? Spoken word poet, like from Lancaster.
No,
Sir Dominic Jordan. You never seen him?
no,
He
no.
uses that. He's like he calls himself an artivist. Yeah, I mean he's an activist and artivist, and he kills it with the spoken word stuff, man. He does a
King.
lot of stuff out here in Lancaster, man, and
So first time I ever heard it, and this is where I feel like I'm blessed because I get to be exposed to things. I was in Aspen, Colorado. It was snowing. The
what?
great Queen Chloe, she literally was the first Black woman to have an arts program, like literally. And she did this beautiful dissertation with her dance company, the Allen got like it was so beautiful. And I remember her like, this is artivism because she literally shared her story, but she had these dancers. And then literally I've been rocking with it ever since, as far as her being an artist, because she was a dancer, but she was up in age. So she was basically a choreographer, but she used her story to kind of navigate with body movement, bro. And I've been hooked. And this was like 2016. I've been
Okay,
hooked since. I've been
okay,
hooked every. It's crazy because the term is actually coming back out, but it was like it nailed me because and then like this is what I'm saying because like even when you talk about the art of organizing as an organizer, and this is me understanding as a drummer, like there's a lot of tools that I can use to make different sounds, but it's the whole drum set that literally gives you the vibe.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So I've been hooked ever since.
That's deep, man. That's good, man. Yo, man,
Much
good.
respect.
Yo, good conversation, man. Yo, did you have a good time this evening, man?
Bro, yes. And it's so crazy because like even with this, some of the questions like you asked me and even you kind of jogging my memory. I told you I got hacked on my website, so it's down. But I want to do some due diligence and get a pic here and there to kind of show you because I got receipts.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
And I know with the virtual world, like let me see. Okay. I got receipts. You
Yep,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah, after this, yeah, I mean, any photos or anything that like you got to show me, we can. I mean, if you send them to me digitally, we can try to embed them into the episode and all that type of stuff. So
I
that's
love it,
good.
man.
That's good, man. So, yeah, man. So, yo, that was a good episode. Good conversation, man. Do you have anything to plug? Anything to get out there? Before we go, where can people find you on social media? All that type of stuff.
Man, you can find me on the 280 Plus podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
IG, Bro JLA, Facebook. I'm still a millennial. Jamiel Alexander. I'm not on TikTok as much as my wife and my daughter keep telling me. There's a level of like managing my job and even just trying to be social on the two that I have. TikTok is just a much. And then Twitter, between Twitter and X, it don't sit right with me as far as the values that goes on. So
Yeah, he wilding over there. He wilding.
So like, and I'm a classic email too. You said it earlier. I still got the classic Hotmail.
That's how you got hacked, bro. That's how you got that. That's how they got you, bro. They was like, oh, ain't nobody.
that Hotmail, huh?
That Hotmail, good. They got you, man. Like,
much respect. Oh man, I love you, man. I appreciate the. I felt comfortable, and like that's just the energy you give, and just kind of watching you. And so I guess the last thing, just to encourage you as a man to man, brother to brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. All right, man. Yo, y'all heard it here, man. Y'all know where to find them. This is episode 140 of the 280 Plus podcast, y'all. I mean, halfway to 280. You know what I'm saying. But yo, I'm your host, Lo.
Yes!
Yeah, halfway to 280. You know what I mean? So I appreciate everybody for watching. If you're still tuned in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment if you have any inquiries, any requests, anything like that. And yo, this is another episode of 280 Plus Podcast, y'all. We out. Peace.